Let's now quickly talk about the process of textbook production, which probably may help us how this production process, which apparently seems to be a mechanical process, is also not devoid of politics or kind of ideological making of the textbooks. For this purpose, McGilchrist has taken an example from Germany to make the concept of textbook production and CDA clear. How CDA can actually look into this process of production and can find certain ways or certain meanings which can be helpful to the textual analysis of a textbook, and therefore it can also help us in providing a deep analysis of a textbook. According to him, textbook production process include the following specifics or steps. It is based on, at first point, it is based on some curriculum. Germany has 16 states, which they call federal states, and each state has its own curriculum for various subjects. So the book produced in all these states is based on their own curricula. His research shows that content is being controlled while textbook production is in the process. So states and their political hierarchy uh, strictly keeps a watch on what kind of material is being included in these textbooks. Because curricula in Germany are currently, in as much in the rest of the world, or is orienting away from required content and towards required competencies. It is like many other parts of the world, including in Pakistan, it is now focusing more on competencies. But still, what kind of competencies may be desired is decided by the political elite, the governing elite of the state. Secondly, the most federal states in Germany require textbooks for politics, for example, which are related to the politics in the country. To go through a formal approval process, first they need to go through some kind of anonymized reviews by the teachers or other authors, and there are some other reviews also, and then finally they have to go through a review from the Ministry of Education, which approves its content and format also. Thirdly, publishing houses follow the previous versions of the books to be incorporated. Usually, it's a 70% of the previous book which has to be included in the new version, and the author has the liberty to include only 30% of their content. They may write their own content, or they may select some content from other sources and include it after proper adaptation. The author's task was primarily to select content from other books and adapt it to their state curricula guidelines. That is, to put the pages in new order to meet the curriculum topics, reformulate tasks and headings, update out of date information, maybe correcting certain dates or certain typos which would have been left unattended in the previous versions. Four steps in the textbook is the production of those books, and generally in Germany, the production of textbooks is outsourced to the editors who are self-employed, and this is based on some pragmatic reasons, because this outsourcing process makes the production of these textbooks quick, and it also is cost friendly. According to McGilchrist, the meetings of the authors in between are also necessary, because they meet to decide the content. For example, if a book has to be written by multiple authors, they come together and decide which chapter would be written by which author, and therefore they also, once they have written it, they share with each other to get some critical view about it. Each author can read all chapters and give feedback during production meetings. So they may read all the chapters in the book, though they may be writing one or two chapters, but they would read uh, in most of the circumstances they would read all chapters and would comment about them. If there are different authors of one book, there is a possibility they may have different political opinions, which can be a hurdle in the production of textbook. And generally, this is dealt with a kind of uh, the nature of politics in that particular state. For example, if there are two divergent views, one view may be considered as conservative and other may be considered as liberal, considering the dynamics of politics or the tags which are used for such views in that particular state. So in Germany, there is a possibility that some, though this possibility is very rare, but there is some possibility that some differing point of views may be included in the same textbook. Overall, this list which I have just shared with you highlights several entangled practices, giving the authors a certain amount of authorial freedom. Also, they may pick a content, adapt it, and include it, or they may write their own. But at the same time, it keeps a check on the freedom also, because they cannot go against the internal politics of a particular state in the Germany, and the kind of production guidelines which have been provided by that state. And they also have to go through some kind of reviews also, including a review by the Ministry of Education, which is very important and can be challenging also. And they have to tie themselves tightly to federal curricula, corporate economies, and local politics simultaneously. So this can make the production of textbooks a kind of challenging task. And if we just look at other countries in the world, probably the process would be similar, because most of the governments would like to have a close eye, or would like to have a deep eye on the production process of various textbooks. And the institutions which are meant to produce these textbooks are paid heavily by various governments, so that they can produce these textbooks according to their choice, or as they frame it, according to the ideology of a nation. So we can see that the production process may not be devoid of politics, may not be without politics. Rather, this can be a possible site for critical discourse analysis also.